Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video, I want to share with you the overall top team for Dauntless squad, so that if you have these heroes, this is going to be the best one for you. However, if you don't have these heroes or they're not as highly ascended, there are going to be some alternatives, which I'm going to show right after this one. So here you have Rhys and Seth on the buff tiles. You can run this team even if you have Legendary Plus on Rhys, for example. On Seth, I'm not sure, maybe Mythic Plus is actually his breakpoint, but with the frontline spell. And as for the charms, you're going to have Shakir probably on Mystic from Dream Realm. Kruger, Mystic charms are the best for him. Mikola, Arcane charms. Seth, I'm running Mystic, but other people are running Acute or Arcane. All of them are doing well, so it doesn't matter which one you have. And then Rhys with the Butcher charms. For team number 2, Odie with the Gale charms is really important. Elsa, ideally with the overloaded charms. However, I don't have them, so I'm running the Bloodlust because it gives you attack. And then Smokey on the recovering charms for the skill power. Those are the teams, and here we have the formations of them. And this is the overall top performing. As of today, some people have hit 110 billion damage or a little bit higher than that. And on this account, we've hit 109.5 billion damage with it. Okay, now we're going to get right into the teams. If you don't have, for example, some of these heroes built up, and a lot of the credit for this goes to all of the team testing done in the Analytica Discord, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the this one. Okay, so here, this team basically concept is going to use the same 3 heroes in the front, which are Kruger, Shakir, and Mikola. It is going to be assuming you have Shakir at plus 10 exclusive equipment, otherwise he might not be the greatest option because he wouldn't be providing any attack buffs for your allies. Kruger and Mikola are going to be like the physical defense debuffer, and then Mikola for her buffs and the attack buff for your team. So this is showing you that on the buff tiles, rather than Rhys and Seth, you can kind of mix and match whichever heroes you have. Now, Soren would be a great, Soren is one of the best replacements for Seth because he still does a decent amount of damage, like maybe 10 billion less damage than Seth, but still a decent amount. If you don't even have Soren, you can run Brutus, for example, and if you don't have Rhys, you can run Smokey here. That can work fine as well. So basically, the hero options you have for the buff tiles are Seth and Rhys. They're the top priority. If you don't have them, Soren would be the third one. If you don't have Soren, then you can go down the line and go for Brutus and Smokey, which most people should have. But if, for example, you have I don't know, Legendary plus Brutus and Legendary plus Seth, it's better for you to run Seth. Seth is going to be one of the best options here. I think even at lower ascension, he should be fine, but he's not going to be getting the top scores. And for the team number 2, it is Odie, Elsa, and Coco with the resonating spell on Odie. And this is a good team number 2. It doesn't get, in my experience, it doesn't get quite as much damage as when you have Smokey on this team rather than Coco, but it gets really close, and it allows you to maybe use Smokey in team number 1 if you want to. With the resonating spell, you really need to have Elsa in the team. So even if your Elsa is not highly ascended, you still want to run her because she's going to keep casting her ultimate, and that's going to charge up the basically energy of Odie. And yeah, but if you don't have Elsa highly ascended, I still think this is a team you can try. If it isn't working, there's another team that we'll take a look at. And as for the charms, they're going to be basically the same. Coco Sturdy charms are considered the best for her, but I don't think it really matters. Kruger, we said Mystic charms are the best. You can even go for Cheetah charms, or even Reaper charms. Basically, whatever sorcery charms, whatever you have, you can go for it. It should be fine. But I think, in my opinion, Mystic charms would be the best. Brutus charms, you should give him something that will increase his damage. Insight isn't great. That is mainly a PvP choice of charms. Okay, so we have that team. Now, if you do not have, I will show you the next one. This one. This is a really good, again, team option. For example, if you want to run a physical team on team number 2. And then all you'll do is you'll run Kruger, you'll run Shakira on the buff tile, and then apart from that, you can run, for example, Soren, you can run Seth, you can run, even if need be, Brutus, something like that, or even Kruger on the buff tile and Brutus off of it or something. But basically a physical damage dealer team full of your physical damage dealers, and Shakira is going to be grouped up with them in the front, giving them the buffs. And so this is a pretty good, when you take a look at the score, this got 103 billion, which is not that much worse than the overall top team, but it is. And kind of the reason for that is it will allow you to use Greatsword and physical team on team number 2 if you're limited on options. But this is not like a top team to be running. And then magical on team number 1 with Arcane Spell, Odie, and Elsa on the buff tiles. And Mikola, Coco, and Smokey. So the credit for this team goes to Becky, and I think, in my opinion, this is more of a team that you would try if you're limited on options and like amount of heroes you have upgraded. You can check if maybe this will work. But for me, this was not coming really close to the overall top team, but maybe it is a bit related to RNG as well. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the overall top team formation replay and see how it is working, because the positioning ends up being pretty important. If we take a look, Mikola on the left side is actually optimal, because then what happens here is she's going to buff up your Seth, who's your major damage dealer with the Curse Sphere haste buff, and also Seth is now in a position to be buffed up by Shakira, so he's getting the best of both worlds basically. And Seth is your major damage dealer, so you want him to be as buffed up as possible. And now in this fight, really your frontline heroes hardly have any issue surviving, because frontline spell also gives them damage reduction. Shakira is going to give them more damage reduction. It's really only Rhys who is going to end up dying towards the end, and there's nothing you can do to prevent that. Like at 20 seconds left, Rhys is always pretty much going to die, but it's fine. He does his job. He gets off enough damage before he goes down. Yes, right there Mikola took a lot of damage, even Seth got low, but now we have Shakira back in wolf form, giving the damage reduction to our allies, and basically they're not going to be at a risk of dying here. They're going to be able to survive that blow, but really thanks to both Shakira's buffs and Mikola's buffs, and Seth is able to dodge that. And yeah, like if you can have everyone alive other than the Rhys up until the end of the fight, you're going to get a great score. 61.4 billion with the first team here, which basically carried it. And now looking at the team number 2, you have the Odie on the buff tile with the resonating spell, and Elsa is going to be charging up the resonating like energy of the Odie. So to recap things, basically, even though Elsa has kind of been phased out of the Orson top boss team as of yesterday, the problem is she's still important for Ravaged Realm, and like next season she could be important for some boss content or some various different content in the game. So I still think Elsa is a priority for your season store to try and get her to eventually Supreme Plus, or at the very least getting her to Mythic Plus, and then you can upgrade her to Supreme with Acorns. So in my opinion, that is pretty important for you to try and do, because in the future you want to basically have your account prepared and ready to go into Ravaged Realm, because in Ravaged Realm, a lot of it will come down to do you have the necessary heroes at Supreme Plus, like maxed out? Do you have them at plus 10 exclusive equipment? That's pretty much all you need on most of them. And then do you have their optimal charms? If you have all of these things going for you, you can probably get into top 20 of the ranking, even if you don't have any Paragon upgrades, for example, even if you're missing plus 15 on some of your heroes. As long as, like, for example, you have plus 15 on Odie, which is kind of a priority, and in team number 1, you wouldn't really need plus 15 on any of them. You're going to be able to get a good score. And so that's really the thing that you should be focusing on. Okay, so 1 second left, and just over 48, or just around 48 billion damage, which is an overall good score. But like I said, people have hit 110 billion and above today. But like, I mean, we don't have everyone on the optimal charms. Overloaded would be the best for Elsa. So those are something you want to try and get. And then on team number 1, it would be best to have Mystic onto Kruger, and for the Seth, maybe Arcane or Cute would be better than the current charms we have, which are the Mystic charms. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to recap the top team formations. Hopefully out of these 3, basically, you can put together a good team. But what I found really interesting was the one that I shared with you guys, which is that you can mix and match the heroes on the buff tiles. You can even run Smokey and Brutus if need be. Brutus doesn't really do that much, so I don't really think Brutus is great here. I would probably even run a Legendary plus Seth instead of the Brutus, but Smokey does well. Smokey does well on the buff tile, and he kind of synergizes really well with his team comp. So, and then you can easily run Coco on the second team, even though it doesn't do quite as much damage as if you have Smokey rather than the Coco, which is like, it is an important difference. But like, I mean, if you have to run Smokey in team number 1, then you can go for it. But yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Good luck getting a good score in the Dauntless squad. And I hope it has been going well for you so far. And really now it's just about getting your optimal charms so that you're going to be all set when we have the Ultimate Siege, which is, we still have 15 days left for that, which is a long time. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.